Hi everybody and welcome to Just Saying. I'm Kim and I'm joined here as I am every week by my Easter jolly buddy Mary. Hi Mary.
Hi Kim.
I forgot the date.
I think it's April 14th.
That's possible.
Day before tax day. The day that everybody's rushing around to get all their taxes done. I beat the rush. I finished it last week. I only stood in 1 year in the line at the post office, and I swore I would never do that again.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Nope, not at all. So speaking of fun, I heard you had some fun over the weekend. Do tell.
We had all kinds of fun. We were at History, Haunts, and Legends convention in Jefferson, Texas. Beautiful homes. So much fun, except for the bunch of rats who deserted us at the end because we were all supposed to go out to eat before the investigations and everybody took off. But that's what they get because they all had bad food and we had good food.
There you go. So where was it that you did the investigation?
There were 5 different buildings. The McLaren House, the Culberson House, McGarrity's Saloon, the Antique Shop,
and a two-word house.
And a 2-word house. What, Wales Shulman or something like that.
Well, which one did you go to?
All of them.
Wow. What was it, like drive-by investigating or what?
It was like 40 minutes per building.
Okay.
But basically we broke into our own little teams. Eric was investigating and Kim was babysitting.
Well,
had a lot of fun.
Sound like it's I'm sorry, hey there.
We had a lot of fun though.
It looked like it. I was looking at the pictures that you were posting. I was cracking up over the one Martha posted of the mirror.
Yes.
Was she being serious about that, or was that, haha?
I'm thinking she was serious because she didn't type haha.
Okay, well I didn't post anything, because the last person on this earth I want to get mad at me is Martha.
Right?
I just kind of clicked like and went on about my business. So, how's the little kitties doing?
They are now, the biggest one is now longer than a Sharpie.
Aw. I want one.
I know. They are 8 days old today. And I've already got one that started Friday when they were 5 days old. No, started Thursday. He was 4 days old. And apparently it's decided it's on some military mission and takes off figures its way out of the box and just drags itself around the shop. It doesn't care.
There's always one. There's always one. That's the one I want. That one. Mark it. So, we hit 82 degrees here yesterday.
Yeah?
And now I'm being told from Mark, the lawn guy, that we're supposed to get some wintry mix for tomorrow.
Yep.
Like, no way, I don't want that.
Yep, because I was at History, Haunts, and Legends, I was in shorts. Today, I had on jeans, tennis shoes, t-shirt, and 2 jackets.
Crazy. I have the windows open. I have my ceiling fans going. I think last week I wore a turtleneck to the show. Weird. Anyway, nothing major is going on my end, at least this past weekend. But we're down to a little over 3 weeks till first grandbaby's due. So that's the big highlight around here. So I'm like getting all excited.
I know you are.
Anyway, I think we should get on with our show.
Okay, tonight's show is going to be very interesting, so if you have to glue yourself to your seat, do it, because Lord only knows where this roller coaster is going. Our guests this evening, guests plural, are Tim and Trish Yancy, and Matt and Tina. They all do a show together. I guess Tim, you're the one. Start it off.
are you?
Hi, Tim.
Hey, what's going on?
Well, you tell us. You're the guest. It's your hour. You can talk about whatever, except
Okay.
what we
Well,
were
I can
talking
say
about
that,
before we went live.
Okay, well, I can tell you it's been 82 here for the entire winter. I think we had 3 days this entire winter where it got under 50. And we're walking around in shorts and flip-flops. At least I am. I don't know about Matt.
I don't have any pants on at the moment.
Okay. Good. But we're doing well. We're thrilled to be here, and quite a technological achievement. You got all 4 of us. I'm outside in the backyard. Trish is upstairs. Matt's at his house, and Tina's, I think, in the hot tub.
Oh, wow.
And that leaves Mary in Pennsylvania and me in Texas.
There you go.
That's right. Well, we had your weather for 2 days, and I'm taking it. And I might not give it back.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll send you the snow.
I saw photographs of on Chip Coffey's page where he went to the Stanley Hotel, and there was still snow on the ground this past weekend. So, wow, it's hard for us to fathom down here because we haven't seen any cold weather down here at all this winter.
Well, you're lucky. Our whole
Yeah.
weather pattern here on, at least where I am, I'm outside of Philadelphia, is so off. Even right down to the bugs. I mean, it's ridiculous. I was doing a lot of, obviously, art work over the weekend, and I'm pulling up
Right.
these nasty looking grubs, which are the Japanese beetles thingies, and normally you don't see them until June. And I had some mulch done today, and I let my gardener know, hey, I was digging, and I'm digging up these grub things. The weird thing about it is, you never know what we're going to talk about on this show. The weird thing about it is like a grub is usually like 1/4 of an inch long. These things were like 2 inches long, and I'm like, I don't want to see the Japanese beetles that are going to be produced from these things. So it's totally off.
Very interesting. Well, listen, I'm way more excited about the fact that Trish is here and Matt and Tina than I am about me talking, because I'm always the one that gets to do the interviews. So I'm going to flip it over and go around here and hand it off to Trish. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We're definitely, as you're saying, having pristine weather compared to the rest of the country. So I think we're happy for that.
Hi, Trish.
Hi, how are you guys?
Fine, how are you?
Doing great. Busy work days and lots going on every day, but that means lots of good stuff. So that's a good thing.
I look like you guys were having a ball this weekend too.
Oh, you never know what's going to happen in the course of doing a radio show. So it's always a lot of fun and just a lot of unexpected giggles all weekend. So that's a cool thing.
Yes, it is. Who decides on the topics for the shows?
That would be Mr. Tim and Mr. Matt. Those two are topic meisters.
Well, it's not fair because Matt actually works on it. He works on gauge segments together. We tell all of our folks that we have 2 hours, so everybody should come up with a half-hour bit. And Chris is like, I can do a damn thing except just talking. And Tina is there and has book review stuff, so she does the book stuff. And Matt comes up with the craziest stuff. I think this week he's coming up with melonhead children and some other ungodly thing. But he's also the king of the psychic toaster. So with him, I never know what he's going to bring until he gets right here to the show. And we frantically download the pictures that he's going to use for his bit. And we go.
Well, I went over
That's fun of the unexpected.
Yeah, that's true. I went over to your Facebook page for your past shows, and you did have some interesting subjects there. Now, do you go in cold, the rest of you, and you just kind of go with the flow?
Since we have left the radio station, we have not actually sat down and had a production meeting. We fly by the seat of their pants. We think about it about 5 minutes before we start the show. And it's only because it's new for us to get back in and do this. We have not done this in 2.5 years. So we're still working out the equipment. We're still, trying to get, make sure that the headphone cables are long enough, the thing. And so for us, it hasn't even gotten to a point where we're focusing on show content yet, really. We've come up with some ideas, and Matt's been the head of that, absolutely, for now. So it really is improvisation all the way right now.
Well, there's certainly been some interesting things out there that you can pick from. I'll give you that much.
Well, I think that makes it fun.
Yes. Well, I was looking at the one show that you did, and you showed the picture of, what is it, bison or something, that they're all like flocking out of Yellowstone Park.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those are totally interesting subjects. Yeah, and it doesn't keep
That was Matt's thing.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, Matt, we came up with that one.
I spend all of about 10 to 15 minutes coming up with ideas, and then once we get it on the show and start bouncing it off each other, it fills the show. So you just come up with a couple of interesting points and some photos, and between all of us, we're able to improv that for a good long time.
So, Matt, I have to ask, were you chasing the bison with the hearse?
No, not at all. They were doing that all on their own due to volcanic eruptions. The hearse had nothing to do with it.
So he says.
Yeah, but you hear Tim giggling, so they're
You see zoom in on the
Well,
picture.
it's fun to watch. It's fun for me to watch how that dynamic happens. With them, Matt will bring in legitimate news items, and before the show, we'll start already cracking jokes about them, And then you see him and Trish lock eyes together, and they get going on something, and that's it. It's out of control. And I just kind of sit back and watch the fun. It's a healthy blend of skeptics, believers, survivors, and people who have been through phenomenon and experienced phenomenon in their lives. So it's an interesting mix. Trish is a science teacher. Matt has a law enforcement background. So it's an interesting dynamic. When we look at a case, you really get 4 different interpretations of it.
Well, and you left out Tina, who is obviously the animal trainer.
Yeah. Is she in there, Tina? You here?
Yeah.
I am here. I'm trying not to echo.
You're not echoing on this end.
I am. See, I'm sitting next to Matt, though, and if you're in the studio with Matt, when he starts to talk,
Yes.
you have to turn him down.
Well, I'll go sit out in the hearse right now.
No, I would say, animal wrangler. It's just so cool, especially the chemistry Matt and Tim have, their little bromance there. They really just connect and just start bouncing things off of each other, and the flow is so natural. I think it creates this very unique atmosphere that is Encounters Live. It's just really cool to watch.
Oh, I've watched it off and on for years, Little Miss Tin Car.
Stop
We
it.
have.
Hey, that's my job.
We started doing that. I started in 1994. Tina and I had known each other, but I didn't know Matt. I don't think I did. I did know Matt, but I had not reestablished contacts with Trish, and I did it with started with Lou Gentili and some broadcasting network, some god-awful thing, and did it solo for a long time. And then when we had an opportunity with Clear Channel down here with WBZT, I really needed the help. I couldn't carry a show by myself. It's a lot of work. And so I invited Trish in first. She joined in. Jason Gallen joined us for a while. We had Matt and Tina sign on. When did you guys come on board? Matt, you probably came in about 2009?
I think that was actually 2008. We had just got back to
2008, okay.
And came on to promote a charity that we were involved in. And
I remember that.
Just loved the concept, and he asked me to sit in as a co-host, and here we are. Loved it ever since.
Well,
You proposed to me twice. I've turned him down, but
Yeah.
I play hard to get them.
It's all right. There's always next year.
That's right.
I know. I've been watching this tug of war go on now for 5 years.
Matt has been through the dark and through the light with me. It's been a very interesting path, and a lot of people have heard my story about how me and my brother grew up, and all of that happened so long ago. But there was a second resurgence of that, probably about 1994-ish, and Matt has been through that. He's been there when I needed him, when I didn't think I needed him, and he's been there, or he has gracefully released all of that when I needed him to do that too. So, they are very close to me and Trish, Matt and Tina. I keep them really, really close to me now, because they are, it's bro and sis, And I know that Trish feels the same way, and so when we decided, hey man, we're getting bored again, we're standing there kind of twiddling our thumbs and staring at the walls around here, and the idea for the show just came back up again through a friend of ours, Taylor Stevens. And we all just looked at each other and said, yeah, let's do it. So we're in the reincarnation of that. We're starting up the show again, and I would safely say you haven't seen us at our best yet. We're still working out the kinks and figuring out, getting our flow back. But I'm really looking forward to what the future holds for us.
Well, I have to tell you, 5 years ago on your show, you were having some kind of little trivia thing, like once a week. And I actually won Trish's DVD or CD and an autographed picture.
I remember that.
And and I still have them.
Aww.
See that?
That's great. What DVD was
The
it?
Sears lecture.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. Trish does an amazing lecture with kids when we go out in the little convention circuit there. And yeah, we've recorded it a couple of times now. And I just love what she does. I'm real proud of that. I try to get it out there as much as I can.
Yeah, because I sent the CD to my daughter because it was the whole trying to keep children from being afraid of thunder.
Yeah. I remember that. She's got a great explanation for that. That thunder is basically air that moves real quick, and it's basically just like a fart. Kids love that.
Yeah, that really makes an impression for sure.
Well, now Mary has a grandbaby, so she's going to need it.
Not yet. 3 weeks. And counting. In case you haven't picked up, this is my first grandchild to be, so.
Oh, we know that feeling well. It's very exciting.
Well, I'm telling you now, spend the next 3 weeks getting as much sleep as you can. Because you will never sleep again.
I already told my son he stopped by today. My daughter-in-law's at the point where she's miserable, okay? She just has had it, so she's still got a couple more weeks, but I said to him, and I've said this to my husband too, I'm going to be getting those 2, 3 o'clock in the morning phone calls. Mom, the baby's crying. What do we do?
Oh yeah.
She won't stop, and we can't stick her in the washing machine. So
Well, we had a baby shower last month, right? And I've never seen such things that are out there for babies. I mean, I'm trying. There wasn't one thing I think that they got that I had, and I raised 2 children. You know, and I'm like, gee, I wasn't a bad parent because I didn't have this thing that lit up on the ceiling and, you know, all these little noise things, and everybody has to have the baby monitor now. But now it's not just one monitor, we have 2. So, you know, no matter which kid crawls to, they'll be able to keep an eye. I just told them, hey, I could have lent you my IR cameras and DVR. You could have kept an eye on the kid. But it's all little itty-bitty things that's on the market. I'm like, I must be in the wrong business. Seriously, I got to start paying attention to this.
Oh, it's pretty amazing, everything they have.
We got boy diapers and girl diapers. Because the boy diapers has a little bit more, you know, stuff in the front there. So it's cute. I had fun looking at all this stuff. So
yeah, I always say better you than me, or better them than me, though. I'm done with that chapter.
yeah,
Look at that.
So I'm happy to become a grandparent because at the end of the day, bye, honey. See you next time. Close the door.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, that's the interesting part. I think of everybody here. I never wanted children. I was terrified of kids. Growing up and into my 20s and, you know, getting into the 30s and then the 40s, I spent time, I worked in a juvenile detention center and a group home setting for a long time, and I saw how terrifying kids were. I was like, I don't ever want one of these things around me. And then we had the blessing of Julie coming in and saying, hey guys, I'm moving in. And that was supposed to be for 6 months. It turned into 3 years, and she had her little one, so I mean, from a baby, and I got to experience that. So it was very neat. I still don't ever want to have a child. I'm still convinced they're terrifying, but it was neat to have that experience. Emily, our little one granddaughter, came over today and to play on the couch and tickle her, and she's jumping all over the place and excited. It's really neat.
Yeah, it's unique for sure.
Yeah, everybody tells me, so I'm getting excited. You know, I want to change gears just for a second, and I'm going to go back I'm going to go back to you, Tim. I call myself a Facebook stalker. You know, I go around and, well, you know, you're coming on the show. I want to go check some things out. Plus, your stuff pops up on my wall for some reason. I don't always see it, but lately it's been on there. And I think it was Facebook's been changing things around. Unless you like private message and you're constantly on each other's pages. Yeah. I mean, I see the same people day in and day out. But last week it was like Tim Yancy. You know, like, oh, okay. You know. One of the things that you had posted had to do with what I'm assuming is bullying. And you had made a comment on your you know, on your post about be the strong one and step forward. What was that all about?
That came out of an experience. I have always felt that there is a real strength that comes from knowing that you're in the right. I've felt that several times in life, and you know, and there's a real strength that comes from that, and it gives you the ability to stand up and defend not only for yourself but for others. And there was a circumstance that happened last week that doesn't need to rear its ugly head again, but I felt that someone who was very close to me was being bullied by another relative. And it pissed me off. You know, and that really has an effect on people. I remember as a child I went through horrible abuse at the hands of my father, who, no matter what you did, always told you were an idiot, always told you were wrong, why are you so stupid, that kind of thing. And it really was bullying from an adult to a child level. That bothers me. It bothers me a lot because we are what we're told. And our programming growing up as kids, if you get told you're an idiot long enough, well, guess what? You're going to feel that way. If you're told you're ugly, if you're told you're stupid, if you're told you're a bad kid. And that's what I was told a lot. And I said, well, really, you think I'm bad now? Let's see how bad I can be. And, it creates a lot of dark space in somebody's life. So that's all that was. It was just kind of a rant and lashing out at a situation that had happened.
Well, I mean, the way you wrote it was fine, and, it gives somebody to think about, which, bullying today, whether it's a kid or an adult, I think once a bully, always a bully, and they don't get it. I have this thing that people who pick other people apart, it's not that the other people, there's anything wrong with them. It's usually there's something wrong with that bully or that person that's doing the picking. So what they do is
all
they
about
come
this.
along
Sure.
and they say, well, look at Tim's hair. He's got a funny hair color, right? Meantime, the guy's got green hair, and he don't want people to look at his head, so he's going to say, hey, well, look at Tim's head. It's like you just
Well, that's what it was for me, and Matt and Tina especially, they know my background. They know how I am. I tend to be very sarcastic, and I have to struggle with that myself when Gabe's here or the kids and that. It's very easy for him to do something goofy, or haphazardly, or spill something, and I'll right away turn into my dad, and I'll go, gee, that was real smart, you idiot, and I'll catch myself, and I'll go, oh my God, So it's programming that comes from parents. Tina went through probably as much craziness as I did as a child growing up with a stepfather who wasn't real happy, that kind of thing, and so we've all heard it. We've all had crappy lives, I guess, at one point or another. But, just to stand up, and I had to tell this guy, hey, check yourself, buddy, because I get that he's a kid, but I'm a grown man, and I'll come over and tell you something about it. It's where I came from with that. So that's all that was. It was just a rant. It takes 21 days for a person to change their opinion of something. And so that's a start, and if they really if you keep giving them that feedback, and keep giving them that information and just that positive motivation, you can affect change in people.
But I agree with what you say. I mean, when you grow up like that, the tendency, it's there. And I'm going to direct this to Tina, since Tim brought up that you had a similar situation. How do you break it? How do you stop it from going into the next generation?
In what context? Just the
Well, just the fact, like Tim said, he found himself saying, hey, what are you being an idiot? He spilled something. Do you recognize when you're doing it, or you just
end up not
try
being
not
your
to do it?
parents.
Yeah,
oh,
there you
okay.
go.
Thanks for breaking it down there, baby.
I just had a blonde translator. I just had a translator. I gotta take care of it.
Thank you, honey.
It's like the UN around here.
Well, let's see. First, you got to stop being a redneck. No. Yeah, I grew up in a very, I would say redneck upbringing. I mean, and I got out. I got out at a young age, so maybe that had a lot to do with where I wasn't influenced by that anymore. But I think it's also, you are who you choose to be. I mean, you can't let others dictate your path in life. So even if you could become a product of your environment, or you could rise above it. And I think that's what the bottom line is. I mean, some people say, I mean, and Tim's a perfect example too. I mean, look what he came from. Now he could have drowned in it or rise above it, and that's what he chooses to do. So I think it's a personal choice, and it's not even a matter of strengths or weaknesses. It's a matter of just, well, I don't want to say that because, sometimes, Matt is my light in the dark too. And there's, a point in everyone's life where they need somebody to pull you out of that rut that you're in. So,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not easy for everybody. It really isn't. I think it's just a matter of choice. Some people just like being an asshole. So.
Yeah.
You know, it's
and look at what
sad.
Matt's doing. He was raised by Tibetan ninjas, and he's doing great.
That's true. That's true.
Okay,
And they also own a disco.
I have Tim. I have a question for you and Tina. How ridiculous do you think it is that when they find a murderer or a serial killer, they always go, "Oh, well, it's understandable. They were abused."
Wait, who was that question for?
I don't think there's an excuse for it, but I always like when they say, when they find a serial killer, and they always say, "Well, he was so quiet, and he cut his lawn, he minded his own business," because that's me. So you might be about me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Listen, and I know what you're saying. You're a product of your upbringing, but I mean, people
We
over.
all had crappy lives, I did
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Everybody tells you they had a perfectly sweet, beautiful childhood is full of crap. Everybody has their issues. They just have to rise above it. That's all.
right, but I mean, they automatically leap to, "Oh, well, he had an abusive father, or she had an abusive mother, blah, blah, blah." You know what? There are more of it.
I see where you're coming from, where it's automatically, oh, well, that happened, so that explains everything.
Right.
It's the excuse.
Yeah.
It's the excuse that has to do with
I think that there is some truth to that, though.
But I think there's more survivors out there than there are those that have turned into serial killers.
Sure.
So to automatically go there, or like the horror movies. How many billions of people go to horror movies? They're not all out killing each other.
No, that's
Exactly.
That's true. That's just a poor excuse.
Yeah, I mean, that's also, it is. It's a poor excuse. That's also, if you have an alcoholic as parents, it doesn't mean you're going to grow up and be an alcoholic.
I mean, you have famous, infamous rather serial killers that have perfectly normal childhoods also. So
Sure.
you could have the perfect Brady Bunch family in the world and still turn out because your wiring isn't right or whatever. So.
Yeah, and when it comes to horror movies, not every blonde is going to go up and open the closet door.
Well, most of them do, and strangely enough, most of them are named Tina. I was just watching a horror movie the other night, and the girl's name was Tina, and I looked over at my wife, and we just had that acknowledgement nod because it's implied that if you watch old, especially from the 80s, the victim's always named Tina.
Well, and she always...
And she just got out of the shower, and she's only wearing a T-shirt.
And
she opens the closet door every time.
And
Right.
she
What's
runs
that?
up the steps to get out of the house.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. She's never wearing shoes, or if she is, they're high heels, and she trips over.
Right.
So,
I
try to
fly into the woods and falls down.
Right, exactly.
Poor Tina.
I don't even know you, Tina, and you've got my sympathies.
I feel the love, though. A lot of people don't know. I've known Tim since I was 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
And I've been with my husband for 25 years, so it's love.
You poor thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Now there's Trish. Poor Trish is sitting in the background. I'll direct the question to you. Now this is more on the home front, and it's probably a lot more personal. But when Tim had...
Here we go.
All right, put your fingers in your ear, Tim. We don't want you to hear this one.
I thought you were going to say, this is like being around all that much sexy.
Kim handles it very, very well, actually.
Yes, he does. But a few years back, Tim had some health issues, which I can totally
Yes, he did.
2
sympathize.
years ago, like yesterday.
Yeah, he's still dealing with a lot of
I
that,
had a full of chicken
unfortunately.
going out of his throat yesterday. I almost choked, so.
Get away from me, I'm hungry.
Okay, this one goes to Trish. And I'm on the flip side. I'm on Tim's side because 10 years ago I had a heart attack and I had a couple stents put in. And it does really...
Ah.
Yeah, see, there's a lot more of us out there than you think, and we're survivors, so...
Oh, yeah.
But it does play a very heavy-duty role on the family because now they realize you know, you're not unstoppable. There are things out there. How did it rearrange things with all the stuff that you guys get involved with?
Well, I think for a little while, there's kind of that fear of, is he going to be okay? And is something else going to happen? And and the changes in diet. That's a big thing, when you're trying to change your diet and change your lifestyle. And I was so grateful to him that he just immediately quit smoking, which was a big thing. And that was something that weighed on my mind because I didn't know if he was going to commit to doing that. He was a smoker that was happy to be a smoker and had no intent of ever stopping. And so that played on my mind almost more than anything. Like, how is he going to be able to do this? And will he be able to do this? And will he be okay? And, those kind of fears were bigger for me. But he just handled everything so much like a trooper that, our son and daughter and granddaughter and everything were just, he changed the whole dynamic of what that could have been because he kept a great sense of humor and he kept everybody in the loop and he went forward like a champ. And so that really put,
that's how I roll.
I think that put like most all of the fears to rest. My thing was just, is he going to be okay with not being able to smoke and things like that. Those were where, I was like concentrating in the little details.
Heck yeah, since I found that oxycodone dealer down the street, I'm fine.
No, he really did though. I was so impressed with how he handled this drastic, massive change and dealt with all the stuff that he was having to deal with just so beautifully that it really kind of allayed everybody else's fears because of how he handled it. So we were lucky.
Yeah. No, I mean, it something like that when it happens, it does change your perspective. I know.
Oh, absolutely.
When I first got out of the hospital, besides that everybody's waiting on me hand and foot, I'm like, am I ever going to be normal again? I mean, but like, what's normal?
Yeah.
I was afraid to bend over and tie my sneakers. What do I do?
Yeah.
So it really does put some fear into you, but then it also you're forced to make some changes that are for the better. And I, at least myself, I don't hold back. I mean, most people don't even know that I have a heart issue. I just keep on going because I figure, you know what? If it happens again, I'd rather be doing something I really love doing than sitting on a chair the rest of my life afraid to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I was very concerned for Tim.
Yeah, I bet you were.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was very concerned because he owed me $50.
Right?
I wanted to throw it.
Well, and lucky for me is beforehand, I've always been really healthy and really active throughout most of my life. I've done martial arts training, skydiving. I was the weird guy that had to get the GoPro camera to record all his adventures, that kind of thing. So the fact that I was pretty healthy before this really helped me out a lot. And what happened is I made the mistake of not only was I going to be a smoker, I was going to be the best smoker there was. I was in 2 packs a day, eating, drinking a gallon of chocolate milk a day and having 2 Whoppers and just got stupid. So I crashed and burned. And then I think it was because I had been pretty healthy that I was able to bounce back pretty quick and without too many issues. The only problem I have now is not smoking, and because of the other issues that I have a hard time with diet. So I'm up to 234 pounds where I used to be 180 before all of this started. And it's a little bit of a struggle with the weight issues, trying not to eat the entire box of fried chicken, but getting there.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I think no matter how many scares you have, when you like food, it's tough.
Oh, yeah. And we are, both Tim and I, we love the food. There's just no doubt about it. We like to eat, and that can really be a challenge.
Well, the sad part about the whole thing was Eric had a heart attack. Within 2 months, Tim did, and then they decided it was some big I got more than you competition going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to have a competition. Yeah. I had 2 stents. He's like, well, mine are made out of titanium. Well, mine are gold plated.
Well, it started out because he had 3 stints and you only had 2.
Yeah. It's a guy thing. It's really a guy thing.
You know, that's not something you guys should really compete on.
The only thing you would like, Matt, is that when you go in and as you're going out, they give you the best freaking drugs, man. This lady, she looked at me and she goes, all right, we're going to start. And they put an IV in me and she goes, okay, we're going to start giving you that. Boom, I was out.
I was going smooth, and then you're good.
Yeah.
I woke up later and some guy's holding onto my, what's that little artery, the femoral artery in my head? Yeah, and he's like got his hands all over my crotch for 20 minutes, and I was like, I had this as a dream. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Strap the
helping.
uniform on.
Best 20 minutes of my life.
I can't cut up the people in the hospitals because my daughter is a trauma ICU nurse. So,
Yeah.
But don't you love it when,
boy.
I went in by ambulance, and you're laying there and you've got all these people around you, and this doctor pops out of nowhere, reminded me of Patch Adams, that movie, Patch Adams, with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And he
So
says,
great.
Mrs. Stern, I just want to let you know you're having a heart attack, but not to worry.
Oh, geez.
You know, but
No
you're
shit,
going to have a lot
Sherlock.
of people around you, and I'm like, huh?
Oh,
And then
wow.
I shoot the drugs, and after that, you don't care what they're doing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That was so wonderful.
Yep.
They had morphine.
Well, anyway, let's get back to your show.
Wait a minute. I have one more question on this. So, Matt, did you get your $50 back?
I'm sorry?
No, he didn't.
Tim,
Yeah, what
She asked
back?
if you got your $50 back. Your $50.
Oh, no, I'm still waiting. I'm, if I can get him to pick up smoking again, he might have another heart attack. I feel guilty and give me my $50. So.
Just
Oh,
a
yeah.
chicken. I don't
Yeah.
chicken always hurts. So let's get back to the show. What do you got up and coming? That's right, you don't know till 15 minutes before showtime.
That's true. Well, here's the thing. We're starting to get the old equipment. What I did is I literally took all the equipment that we had, and it takes a lot. You know, we got 4 or 5 cameras, a video mixer, we have 2 soundboards, you got DVDs that you have to play, and film, and audio, and all this. It's really a lot to do this. And we had just taken it all and thrown it in boxes and threw it in a corner. Well, as we're getting all the pieces out and building this thing back up, what the show I think really has been for me is more of an experiment and does all this crap work than anything else. And so my concentration has really been on that, on the technical aspects. I'm really hating that we have this stream that plays commercials every frickin' 8 minutes, it seems like. So we plan on coming over to live stream if possible and maybe signing on with you guys. I don't know. We'll see how it all works out. But that's the thing for me now is getting the equipment up, getting it working, because once you do that, then it becomes really easy to concentrate on the rest of the stuff, the show content itself. So we'll be doing that. We're finding out that, hey, we can do phone interviews again. That was easy for us when we were at a radio station because they had all the interfaces and all of that stuff. But for us, it's a little tougher in a homegrown situation. So as that stuff starts to become less of an issue, I can focus more and, at least meet Matt on the same level as far as show content. He right now has been the one who is really kind of running the whole thing for us as far as content. He goes out and gets stuff. He brings things in. We're starting to look at radio interviews now. So I think that what you're going to see in the future is us kind of polishing it up, getting it back into the groove, taking it, out of second and putting it into overdrive and starting to really get back into the show format. Less paranormal. I think that when it comes to that, I think I've said everything that I need to say on my thoughts when it comes to violent haunting and ghosts and stuff like that. We've said all that. So now it's something that is going to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit less formal, and to just shoot the crap and have a good time and talk about movies and books and things that we've been doing, that type of thing.
Well, I like that concept, and Kim and I, when we started doing Just Saying, we're all over the board with topics. You know, we don't just stick with paranormal. That's not to say that we don't bring in paranormal people. You know, we have medium and psychics come on, but on any given show, you know, unless we post it on Facebook, most people don't know what we're about to do. You know, we've had animal people on because animals are near and dear to me. We had a gentleman on that believes in astral travel. We've done dreams. We've got an herbalist coming on the end of the month. You know, we try to pick topics that interest people and also put a spin on it. So I like the concept behind your show.
And there's always mention of cheesecake.
Yes.
Oh, that's my kind of show.
One of the things I'm excited about is giving everybody their fair share of time. It's always been, you know, we kind of open up the show, we pass it around, and then we go into an interview with somebody, that kind of thing. I'm really excited because now Tina has been working on books, and she's an author. She's got some books out there, and they're doing publishing. So, you know, she gets her time as well to talk about book reviews and that type of thing. Trish has been writing fast and furious, and she's a science teacher and works out in the community. We're real big in our church right now as far as, you know, being active there and doing that. So we get to talk about that stuff too. And it's fun for me. And people always know who we are and where we come from with the paranormal stuff, so that if they need to contact us, hey, they can. And trust me, I get tons and tons of emails. I am probably, when I said I was going to retire 2.5 years ago, that's when things went crazy for us. I started getting emails from people out of the woodwork to come and work with, you know, families that are going through problems and issues and having stuff going on in their house that they can't really understand. And, you know, and Trish has been helpful with that. Matt, oh my God, Matt has been to a couple of events with me now and visited a few little haunted places, and so that was fun. You know, you can take Matt to a funeral and he'll make it fun. So, you know, fun stuff has been happening.
Well, I saw some really cool pictures you posted on Facebook of cemeteries and things. Where were you?
Those were taken in New York. In 2008, believe it or not. I got a little reminiscence of a dear friend of ours. His name was Tom Mott, and he passed away last year. And I found myself just looking at photos of him, and I found some pictures of him and Trish just dancing in the parking lot one day. And it was snowing, and we hadn't seen snow in a while. And so just those images of him and her, you know, just dancing, and it was neat. And so I got digging through photos, and just that was from that trip. We had gone up there to do a conference.
It looked like you were having a good time, and the cemetery pictures are really good. And I know Kim, did you see the one with the angel?
Yes.
That was Kim
I
Ross's one.
have 6 or 7 of those that we took, and I have a lot of them, but I don't usually post cemetery photos up because I don't want people to know that I'm one of those guys that runs around in cemeteries. You know, so, but yeah, I enjoy photography a lot.
We all hit a cemetery.
I'll put some more stuff up later on. When we get done with this, I'll put up some more photos that you guys might like.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice look. Every once in a while, I go back over some of my original places that I went to, and I'll pop them here and there. And I go, did I really go to that place? You know, you don't think you go to too many places till you go through all your old photographs. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're starting to run low on our time here. What's up and coming for everybody?
Lots of books in everybody's future, I think.
Yeah. Matt, what are you doing over there? What?
I have a coloring book that I need to get through. on page 30.
Still? I thought you got done with that one.
Disney princesses.
Disney princess.
Yeah, okay. Be right
Actually, we are currently, my wife and I are restoring the infamous hearse. That you have pictures up there. We're trying to get that ready for PalmCon here in West Palm Beach, Florida. My wife, my lovely wife, will be signing for books there, and they have asked to have our hearse proudly displayed in the convention center. So we are feverishly trying to get that done for September for PalmCon. And yeah, so that's one thing we're working on.
Tina, what you got?
Tina, on you? What's that?
You guys got any books coming out anytime soon, or?
I was just passing it over to my lovely wife.
Trying to. Definitely trying to. We got the second book in the series, Power of the Moon series, Cover the Moon, is probably going to be out in June. We have to push it back for editing.
That's exciting.
Very exciting. And I must let everybody know, if you go to watch their show, Tina will handle you in the chat room. She don't play.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure.
That's funny.
We might have to check that out Saturday night. Go over there and be rowdy.
Yeah. I think the thing that Trish and I are probably most nervous about coming up in the future is we did a couple of weeks back, or a couple months now, actually, we sat down and filmed for an episode of A Haunting. Mm-hmm. And my brother joined us, and it's only the second time that he and I have ever together talked about this stuff that happened to us. And we did hours and hours and hours and hours of footage. So we're really nervous and really excited about what that's going to look like. I saw the producer later on, because they hire actors and they do recreations of what happened. And they wrote that on that particular day they had a crate full of Madagascar hissing cockroaches that they were going to drop on some kid. And I was like, oh my God, this poor kid. I remember how much fun it was when it was happening. And they had these big old fat hissing cockroach mamas that they were going to dump on this kid. And so we're a little nervous about that. It's supposed to come out August 30th for the new season of Haunting.
Poor kid.
Sounds good.
Although they said the kid liked it so much that he took one home, so...
He kept him as a pet, yeah.
So I guess he wasn't too traumatized.
Yeah, and that's supposed to come out August 30th. It'll be the second episode of the season for A Haunting this year. And I am dead set on, and Trisha's really pushing me and Tina to get this damn book of mine done that I've been fighting with. And I found a new way of doing the writing on it, so I'm a little bit more motivated now and getting a lot more words out per day. So that should be out too by August, I hope.
Well, we will be looking for it. You just put it out there August, so
That's right.
Yeah,
pressure's on.
it'll be fun if I can get it done. I'm trying.
It's tough.
I put little snippets out every once in a while. I'll throw a little snippet out, and they're not edited, and they got the words misspelled and all of that. But I just throw them out there on Facebook once in a while just to get feedback. So I'll rip a chapter out and throw it up there tonight too.
Awesome.
Andy's a random poker.
That's true. I love. They have this feature on Facebook that is you poke somebody, and at my age, all the people that I can poke, the more happier I am. So,
That doesn't sound good.
well, yeah, that wasn't good. So
Get him,
I'm
Trish.
still poking everybody I can find.
Well, guys, we'd like to thank you so much for joining us this evening, and hopefully you'll be joining us soon.
Yeah.
We really hope so. I have gotten live stream installed, and I'm looking at all the bells and whistles of it, and it's a little harder for us than the Ustream nice, tidy package that they have, because this comes in a couple of different modules. But we're getting it done, and then pretty soon I'll be calling and asking y'all for the embed code, and we'll make it happen.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank you so much, all of you. Yes, even you, Matt, for joining us
Well,
this evening.
Thanks for having me on.
It was a fun show.
Matt was
All right.
quiet tonight. I'm
It's the first
not
time he's been allowed to stay up past 8:30.
I'm not used to Matt
that's
being that
true.
quiet.
Remember, I'm court orders and have to be on film, so I'm kind of on the
Yeah,
limit.
that's right.
Love it. Matt and I actually, me, Trish, and Matt had lunch today together, so we've still been on a roll since this afternoon. But thank you guys for having us on. I know it's really hard to talk to 4 people at the same time, but you guys always take good care of us, and we appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much.
You guys have a great evening, and that's Saturday night, 6 p.m., and where do they go?
EncountersLive.com, or there's a Facebook page for our official Psychic Toaster. That's a new one, too, that we got to put out there. Go on Facebook and just type in Psychic Toaster, and you can find some info.
He sees all and knows all, so.
And toast
Yeah.
it all.
All right, well, you guys have a great evening, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Alrighty.
See, I'm smiling. Always a pleasure.
Always.
Anyway, next week, we are taking Monday night off in honor of Easter. So I'm not sure which we'll be playing, but I'm sure Eric will pick a good one because all of our shows are good ones.
That's right.
Yeah. And we will be back here, is that the 28th?
Yeah, I think so. 28th or 29th.
Yeah, the last Monday of April. And we have a really terrific guest on, and I can't wait for her to come on. And
We have Ruth Coffey, who is an herbologist and actually does all the herbal remedies that are sold in my shop.
her stuff really works. I know, I use it. Anyway, Friday night, what you got going on Friday night?
We will be talking with the movers and shakers of the paranormal community.
You guys always deal with the movers and the shakers, so it'll be a good show.
Oh no, Isaac Bradfield's actually going to be coming on this Friday. That's right.
See there, you actually
I
had
actually
someone.
booked a guest. How about that? Yeah, Isaac
There you
Bradfield,
go.
who is also a co-host on Interstate Highways with Jordan Hoggard. He is an astrologer, and Kim is actually having a full astrology chart done. It's going to be pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to be cool. That's neat. I've had one done, and I'm like, I want to get another one done.
I've
Anyway,
never had
let me
one.
see if somebody's still out there before we say officially goodbye. Yep. All right. Ducky, hopefully the kid's watching because this is going out in the mail tomorrow to him. I wanted to show him this on the air. Went back to the train museum in Lancaster and got him the shirt. So it's a heading out tomorrow, and hopefully he'll have it for Easter as his Easter present. And that's it.
You're going to need a big egg for that one.
Yes, a really big egg.
Okay, and I guess with that, we are going to skedaddle out of here.
Everybody have a happy Easter, and don't eat too many Cadbury eggs.
Ew, no.
I like Cadbury eggs.
Malted.
Wait a minute, and may the peeps be among us.
May the peeps be with you.
Exactly. All right. I'm going to say goodnight.
Good night.